Imagine for just a moment, you just got a text from Jesus himself, and he just said, "Hey dude, I want to hang out with you." What would be your reaction? Now, of course, you'd probably first think, this has got to be a spam, right? But let's just say you knew it was Jesus. Your mind would be blown. What would you do? Would you hop in your car and say, "Yeah, let's do it right now"? Would you go straight over to Jesus and start hanging out with him? I think that would be most of our reactions as Christians. We would love for the opportunity to sit with Jesus. If he invited us to spend every day with him, I'm sure that you would. Yet the interesting thing is, Jesus does invite us to be with him every single day. And yet most of us choose not to spend that time with him. I'm talking about prayer. Prayer is something that is lost and foreign in the church today. And I want to encourage you, something that oftentimes keeps us out of God's presence is sin. It's honestly the one thing that can keep us distant from the Lord as far as our relational feelings go. Now, the great news is Romans chapter 8 tells us that nothing can separate us from the love of God. However, I want you to take a moment and check your heart. Why don't you pray more? Why don't I pray more? Does it not boil down to some type of sin, whether it's laziness or we're ashamed to be in his presence because of things that we've done? I want to encourage you with Hebrews chapter 4, starting in verse 15. For we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses, but one who in every respect has been tempted as we are, yet without sin. Let us then with confidence draw near to the throne of grace, that we may receive mercy and find grace to help in time of need. I really want to encourage you. The author of Hebrews tells us that it is because of our sin that we stay out of God's presence. But our Savior sympathizes with our weaknesses. He never sinned, but he understands what you're going through. He experienced temptation in a way that we can never fully understand, but he can understand us. And that is the hope that we have, that when it comes to coming into God's presence, Jesus gets us and he helps us and he provides for us the boldness to come into God's presence. If it is the sin of laziness that's keeping you out of God's presence, can I tell you that you need to overcome that and throw on some boldness and run into God's presence, even if it's just for a few minutes. If there is some sense of shame that you're feeling, can I encourage you that Jesus already paid for your sin on the cross? So go into his presence. He wants you. He invites you into his presence right now. Maybe right after this video, you need to just turn it off, hop on your knees, and start calling out to the Lord that loves you, that hears you, that gets you. I want to encourage you that once the church starts praying, once we finally start engaging with this ancient practice that Jesus told us to, that is when we will start to see change in our world, in our community, and even in our local gathering. Let's all cry out together, collectively, to the God that loved us and gave himself for us. God bless, my friend.